All right. Hi, everyone. We are Team Nestor from Carnegie Mellon University, Silicon Valley campus, and we're so excited to be here. So let's get started. So meet Whitney. She's 38 years old. She's a teacher. She's been working so hard for the past 12 years to save up to finally buy her first home. To her, home is the place where her kids will grow old. They'll have all their first experiences, right? So naturally, it has to be near, good schools, her workplace, be in budget, as well as just be perfect for her family. Because this decision is once in a lifetime for her family, since all her saving and her husband's savings are on the line. And this is not just Whitney. We have over 1 million other people who come from different journeys of at life, and also they share the same dream of buying the first home. Representing them, we have identified 3 major personas across diverse backgrounds, financial situations, and life stages. PNC understands their needs as well as the buyers do. So they have made incredible strides in the past with their tools like Home Insight Planner, the First Time Buyer Guide, Community Loan Program, and other financial educational programs. But let's look at the current market stats. What the market tells us is a different story. It tells us that the first-time home buyers are in a crisis. The presence in the market has dipped from 32% to 24% in the year 2024 from previous year, which is an 8% dip in a year that's huge. The PNC Bank has also reported a similar situation where there's been a dip in the residential mortgage loan and overall a consumer loan dip of $1.4 billion. Not to mention the TAM, the market size is huge, is $4.2 billion. So the market is huge. So what is going on? To understand it better, we jotted the whole market, the customer journey of buying a home by multiple, user research and our secondary research. So, however, we laid down the overall journey. It starts with, discovery, research, also checking out the different loan options, the house hunting. It is a painful journey with multiple factors to be considered at each and every step in the decision making. Not to mention the different pain points, for example, the hidden costs that our users told us that they found at different stages. Now, PNC, with their tool, Home Insight Planner, they do address a lot of these pain points, like telling you what your monthly payment would look like, the loan calculation, comparing other loan products. However, there still are some of the pain points that are still there. There are just too many decision points at a point for the customers, which require external research. So the overall dropout rate in the first-time home buyers is not just related to the high prices or uncertain markets, but it also resorts to how emotionally overwhelming the whole situation is. You have to consider multiple factors, and there are hidden, unplanned costs. There are contradictory advices coming on from different people, and it's very hard to figure out what is going on. Now, this leads to 80% of Gen Z and millennials today to resort to using public AI tools like ChatGPT and for financial advice, which, according to a case study, only gives the good financial advice 41% of the times at best, and 12.5% of the times, worse. So let's make things right. Introducing Nestor. It's a multi-agent home buying coach, which guides you through each step of the home buying journey. It sits on top of PNC Home Insight Planner and pulls your financial data, your credit score, your home goals, and your financial data, and asks additional questions like if you have any other financial priorities at this moment, and feeds this data into a multi-agentic system. Now, why the specialized agents are trained on different personalities, like they analyze your unique situation with different personalities like financial, emotional, and debate with each other, replicating the whole thought process of decision-making, acting as domain experts themselves. They deliver personalized recommendation on the best-suited PNC home loan products, a customized roadmap for your journey, and incentives for the first-time home buyers, which they might qualify for according to their background. Now, this is the best for them for saving money because they'll opt for the best-suited product. Now, why is it better than ChatGPT? It's trained on PNC data, so it understands the PNC products, the policies, the customer patterns. It also has secure access to your PI information. It works with your sensitive financial data within PNC's infrastructure safely. So, and better data means better recommendation for AI. It's a multi-agentic reasoning. So it's not just ChatGPT telling you what to do, but it's multiple agents challenging each other's assumptions, conclusion, which result into giving explainable and more transparent recommendation. And of course, it's context aware, so it knows about your financial picture and not just what you give over a prompt. So now handing over to Ishan for giving a demo.
Okay, thanks, Shreya. So once we have that additional information from the user that Shreya talked about, our nested tool actually goes into action. And let me introduce you to the 5 AI agents that Shreya talked about earlier. The Guardian is someone that is responsible for making sure that you have a solid financial base, so making sure that you have an emergency fund, life insurance in place. The Mathematician is someone who's completely analytical, so they're trying to really analyze your cash flow statements to figure out how much home can you realistically afford. The Market Maven is someone who, in real time, can try to figure out what the market that you're trying to buy in looks like. So is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Is it overvalued right now? And try to time your decision better. And lastly, the Life Coach is someone that looks at your purchasing decision more holistically. So for example, is this close to a school? Is this going to be able to support your family for a sustainable amount of time? We also have a special agent called the Evaluator, and it's responsible for making sure that the entire conversation that these agents are having is free of any biases, as well as completely fact-checked. Once our AI agents are done debating, we give you a recommendation. It includes a pros and cons list, as well as a monthly and upfront cost. But more interestingly, it gives you the best suited PNC home loan solution across all 5 mortgage types, eligibility pre-check. Wherever eligible, you also get nudged to apply for federal and state initiatives that are applicable to you. So HUD programs, PNC grants, as well as down payment assistance programs. You can always review the entire discussion, go through the transcript to see what the agents talked about. You can challenge every assumption, every citation, and every dissenting opinion. And also, you could talk to individual agents to ask any kind of clarifying questions that you might have, or provide additional context to them to support you better. Let's talk about building trust. There are a couple of features that we introduced to have this really inbuilt into our UI. The first of which is a 12-month feedback loop. So 12 months after a user has purchased a home with us, we nudge them to write about their experience. This not only gives us valuable insights into how to improve our product, but also gives us places where we could get testaments for potential future customers. We can show these in, for example, loading screens where the user is waiting around, or, for example, detailed user stories. And this really makes sure that the user knows that they're not alone in this home buying journey, and ensures that they know that people who have similar backgrounds have successfully achieved their dreams in the past. To educate the users further, because we know that's a huge goal for PNC, we show them statistics around their market, which is relevant to their customer, to their current stage in their life cycle. And lastly, we also internally monitor some metrics such as conversion rate, revisit rate, and referral rate to understand how well our recommendations are doing for the user and if they actually trust them. So Nestor is built on ethical AI, safety, and ensuring that we give all of the users a fair chance of getting their first home. Our evaluator agent continuously monitors the performance and conversations across all demographics, ensuring there's no bias, and ensures that we comply with CFPB, OCC, FHA, and ECOS standards. All conversations are completely auditable, making sure that we have accountability in place. And we use bank-grade encryption, zero-knowledge architecture, and comply with GDPR and CCPA, ensuring that we never sell your data ever. And over to Parag to talk about GTM.
All right. Thanks, John. Everyone. So let's look at some numbers. We have a very exhaustive go-to-market strategy. So just like our product integrates with current PNC offerings, our go-to-market strategy also goes hand in hand with PNC's current and future financial expansion plans. 3 phases. In the first phase, we're looking at markets where PNC Center for Financial Education operates. They conduct workshops about budgeting and home buying, so it's a hot market for our product. And they have about 27,000 people attending their workshops. So if we look at a penetration rate of about 20%, that brings our first phase customers to 5,000. So 5,000 people using the product in the first phase. And these are the features that we'll target in the first phase. So AI debate and agent Q&A, which builds trust, and then a feedback loop system which comes in hand in the later phases, which we'll see later. And 1.65 million is the initial investment in the first phase. Most of it goes into R&D. So assuming a small team, 7 people, only focusing on the core aspects of the application. And then as for success metrics, we're looking at things like daily active users, monthly active users, to just get to know how well our product is doing with the current user base. For the second phase, we focus on markets where we have new Sunbelt expansion markets. So a beachhead strategy where we reach the customer before the physical presence of PNC does. And the features that will roll out in this phase are cater to the user experience, make it more relatable and pleasant. So we have things like success stories and loading screen stats from the data that we had from the first phase. And then we also fine-tune the AI models from the feedback loop that we had. The investment in this phase would be around 1.25 million. So R&D goes lower because the core features were built in the initial phases. And then marketing goes up slightly because we're looking at a bigger market size. We focus on these success metrics, customer acquisition, and case study completion to get a feel of how our strategies for later phases for expansion are going to be. Phase 3 is all about expanding coast to coast. So we'll have some additional features rolling out in phase 3 as well. But it's really more about rolling out coast to coast and scaling it nationwide. So with PNC's user base of about 14 million, 100,000 users is not a huge stretch. The upkeep costs keep low at 3 million. And now let's look at market size. With 1.4 million buyers for the first-time home buying market, we're looking at a TAM of 4.17 billion. Now, if we capture 5% of this, our numbers go to 8 million, which we can capture with Nesta. Now, let's look more numbers. ROI. Why should PNC invest in this product? In the first phase, we are looking at an ROI of about 1.09 times. So in the first phase, the user base keeps low, and we don't have a lot of closing. Closing is where the number of users which take the mortgage from PNC after using the product. But in the later phases, when the market size grows up, we have more adoption. We're looking at more closing rates, and the investment keeps low. So we have more revenue generated. So we're looking at an ROI of about 9 times in the third phase. And that has been Nesta. So this was the CMU team from Silicon Valley campus. Thank you.
We have 6.5 minutes for questions, so judges.
Thanks for the presentation. Nice work. So the hypothesis is that the lack of home ownership and growth in the mortgage space as a result of lack of education. Help me understand too, in terms of the current market environment has, it's not exactly a healthy rate environment right now and might not be the best decision to be getting a home. Like, help me understand how you're building trust into your platforms to, help them make the right decision, which might be to not own a home.
Of course. So with the ongoing economic uncertainties that we are having right now, it's very difficult to understand what the market is going to be, and is it even a good time to just buy a home. So people consult to a lot of people with different opinions as to if they should or not. And overall, if they go to PNC tools and other tools as well, they will see the different home loan options that they're there. They can help you, research, lay out all your options, but no one is there to actually tell you what to do, right? And why to do so. So overall, they go to ChatGPT and just say, hey, is this making sense? Should I, opt for this option or whatnot? They're trying to do the research, and people are using ChatGPT for doing their external research. However, it doesn't have the whole financial picture of yours, and neither can you share your PII data with them, right? So with this tool, we want to do is we want to have PNC, the different agents with different personalities, so that they can understand their financial education because they have the financial data, as well also their emotional context. Like maybe they want to start a family in another year and they want to have a home before that, right? So all of these things, the agents will analyze independently and then debate and challenge each other's assumptions as to what the other agent is saying. And one will be the evaluator to see if it's biased, if it's under all the guardrails. And this is the thing that will make sure that people actually trust it, because you can go check out what they had the conversation about, what debate did they do, what citations were there, and what the sources were there, right? So we're just trying to make, because people are anyway going to resort to AI tools, we want to make sure that PNC is the one that gives them the tool and they can trust.
You guys did an amazing job. Great first presentation today. What I really liked about your solution is how you expose the agents to the client, right? And then you enable the client to interact with agents. And, I think this is like a point in time where we're all going to have to transition as consumers and clients around like how we operate. And I think like this probably is the future of people wanting to be able to interact. How did you decide on those specific agents? And was there an agent that incorporated, the future market value of homes and like the volume of homes that are out there in a specific area?
So coming to how we actually got to those agents, it was a lot of interviews. So we interviewed our friends who have actually purchased their homes, and we tried to understand, who did you talk to? So that might be like a financial advisor, legal advisor, and someone who actually understands the market, so a realtor or someone like that. So it was, those 5 agents were kind of selected to mimic that process that you might do. And for your second question about if you have an agent that actually looks at the market conditions, yes, we do. It's called the Market Maven. And okay, wait, I think I went up ahead. Its responsibility is to try to figure out if your current market, let's say you're trying to buy a house in Delaware, which it's an input that you'll give in the PNC Home Insights tool. It'll try to understand if Delaware is a market that's currently overvalued, or if the overall big picture of U.S. Housing, is kind of stable right now. Maybe you should buy a house 6 months later, and that's actually what we're recommending for kind of this user to wait for 4 months and then go ahead with their decision.
Again, as pointed out, really good presentation, and we do like the idea of how we have broken down the agents and agent concept. One core question here is that you did start with saying, ChatGPT and OpenAI, large language models, there is uncertainty, there is bias. But what are the real data that you're going to use here for your agents to be less reliant on the bias coming from large language models? And what is the thoughts behind it?
So first of all, I think that whenever people think of like AI chatbots, they're thinking about large language models, but actually they're not very good at addressing very specific tasks. So first of all, what we're looking at is not to have 5 large language models, because not only does that not actually be very accurate in the long run, but it also increases the cost by a lot, right? You'll need infrastructure to run it. So what we're looking at is actually either small language models or small reasoning models to keep the cost low, as well as specialize in a particular task. So it's really that specific agent is really responsible for only looking at, for example, the market conditions or your cash flow statements and stuff like that, right? Very hyper focused on one specific task and really doing that task well. And to talk about the data bit of it, I think Shreya addressed that in her slide a bit, but we would be kind of looking at we have feedback that the customer has kind of inputted after their journey, but we'd also be relying on kind of proprietary PNC data of like historic data of how people have purchased their homes, how well that has turned out, defaulting rates for a particular customer condition for a given market, and proprietary data that PNC kind of already has, rich data. And so, yeah.
Presentation. So I have 2 questions. So think from the business standpoint, right? From PNC's perspective. for any solutions, right? They got to serve some business purposes, right? So I assume PNC expect more revenue income launching this tool, right? So from that perspective, have you thought about how this tool can potentially drive additional revenue to PNC? Because alternatively, for first-time homeowners, right, their intuition would guide them to tools or those loan agents, right? With loan agents, they can probably negotiate a lower rate, right? Or what if GPT recommends another bank instead of PNC, right? How did you navigate through that kind of competition alternative options? And then two, first-time homeowners are not necessarily the first time doing mortgage, right? Have you thought about how PNC could potentially eat into the market from their competitors via other options, for instance, refinancing using this tool? Right. So that's from PNC's perspective. Another perspective is from the customer's perspective, right? So you're telling me you have this multi-agent reasoning infrastructure to avoid bias. Have you thought about how human override should interact with that to avoid multi-agent hallucination?
You can
Right.
answer very briefly, but then we have to switch. So.
Sure. All right. So for the first question about the revenue and how PNC is going to handle the revenue, so it does integrate with current PNC solutions like Home Insight Planner. So it can look like this. So the user goes into the Home Insight Planner, and let me just go to that slide. And then once we're in the Home Insight Planner, we can have like a prompt for the user to, are you looking to buy a new house? We have this tool where you can go and like put in all that information. And we can pull the information that they put in Home Insight Planner to guide them to this tool as well. So it's kind of supplements existing tools, and that's how we can build revenue by having this tool supplement the other tool, and then vice versa. As for the second question about, sorry, could you repeat the second question again? The multi-agent.
Okay. For the revenue part, just a second. Revenue, we are hoping that if people have their own GPT built inside of PNC, that would understand, not just give, okay, you have these options, but this is the best suited for you. This will drive more people to actually opting for those solutions. We can't do anything for the PNC home loan rates that are currently there, but we can tell them all the incentives that they qualify for, and PNC has separate grants for it, right? There are several state and federal grants for them too. So we are making the system so that people stick to it, understand the recommendations, why we're giving that, and hopefully go with the home loan products by PNC. So that should, increase their revenue.